All right, so I'm sure you've heard it before, this expression, I am my own guru, because it's a really popular expression in the modern yoga scene, as well as in many spiritual circles. And it seems like solid advice, right? Trust yourself, empower yourself. All the answers that you seek lie within. Yes, and if you're even remotely interested in or already on the path of spiritual awakening, which you probably are if you're watching this video, then this popular saying is what tantric scholar and author Christopher Wallis calls a near enemy of the truth. Now, this refers to the idea that an authentic spiritual idea or concept can be misinterpreted or misunderstood or maybe even misapplied and then leading us off course and paradoxically creating more suffering in our lives. So what does I am my own guru really mean? And what if the belief that you are your own guru is more likely to be a detour than a shortcut in your spiritual journey? What if, as Wallis suggests in his latest book, Near Enemies of the Truth, that this belief could actually impede your ability to truly flourish in the long run? And really, most crucially, what if being your own guru is actually just one piece of a broader, more nuanced spiritual teaching? That's precisely what we're going to unravel in this video alongside some insights from Christopher Wallis's compelling new book, Near Enemies of the Truth, which is now available on Amazon. Please don't go anywhere because this is a super important topic if you're on the spiritual path. Hey there, yogis and yoginis. I'm Lisa Engles and welcome to my channel where I help spiritual seekers just like you to harness the ancient wisdom of yoga to live an extraordinary life. So the purpose of my channel, or the goal of my channel, is super simple. It's just to make it easier than ever before for anyone to find happiness and fulfillment in their everyday life by using wisdom that's already been passed down to us for millennia. Now, before we dive in, please do be sure to subscribe to my channel if you haven't already, because I put out new videos just like this one on a regular basis. All right, so before we unpack this concept that I am my own guru, let's consider the Sri Guru Gita, which is a popular text in India. Now, the Guru Gita is a conversation between Shiva and Shakti, and it offers us a really valuable perspective on this concept of the guru and the role that the guru plays in the path of awakening. Now, the text presents the spiritual journey as including three key aspects. Initially, there's this devotion to the outer guru and awakened teacher. And then following this, there's the discovery or the revelation of the inner guru. And then ultimately, this can unfold into ourselves becoming the guru. So what we can glean from this text is that if you're really serious about waking up, then you're going to need a teacher, and maybe even more than one teacher to help you do this. Why? Well, as Wallis explains, you can't be your own guru for the same reason that you can't draw a map to a place that you've never been. Makes sense to me. So a spiritual teacher possesses the experience necessary to chart this complex terrain of awakening and to communicate that knowledge effectively to their student. In other words, a really good teacher doesn't just know the landscape, including all of its pitfalls and all of its perils, but is someone who can also impart a map to help you navigate this unpredictable journey of spiritual awakening. So now that we've established that a teacher, an outer guru, is an essential step before you can embody the I am my own guru concept, you might be wondering, okay, then, but how do I find the right teacher? With all of these unsettling stories these days about abuse of power in spiritual communities, it's perfectly normal to feel cautious about who to trust. drawing from my own experience and my decade-long immersion in the spiritual coaching industry, I can attest that not all people who claim to be spiritual teachers and mentors are genuine. I've encountered and even worked very closely with well-known spiritual figures only to discover later that their priorities lay more with business growth than with spiritual growth. So I can totally understand that it's this very caution that might have you clinging to this belief that you don't need anyone else, that you can figure it all out on your own. Yet, I have seen a lot of people who bounce from one teacher to the next, always seeking, but never quite finding. So Christopher Wallis emphasizes that finding an authentic spiritual teacher requires discernment and focusing on two essential qualities. First is that a genuine teacher should have an embodied, lived experience of spiritual awakening. It should be evident in the way that they live their life, not just in what they talk about or what they claim. For example, they might actually share stories of their own journey with some vulnerability, highlighting not only their peaks of realization, but also their valleys of struggle. So this shows that they're actually walking the talk, so to speak. And then second, they need to be able to communicate this process clearly, offering more than just anecdotes or inspirational talks. So they should be able to provide concrete practices like meditation or self-inquiry tailored to help you to understand and integrate these teachings into your daily life. And I think that they should be able to articulate the teachings that the practices actually come from. So for example, some teachers can inspire you with their presence or their stories, and you might leave their class or their workshop or their satsang feeling totally high and on a cloud, but having no practical steps for your journey. Maybe they talk about otherworldly experiences, but don't really offer a map to navigate the path. And then other teachers might fire hose you with intellectual knowledge and discuss complex spiritual concepts, but they themselves haven't embodied the teachings as a direct experience. Their teachings may stimulate your mind and your intellect, but they really fail to touch the heart, and therefore they don't genuinely transmit the teachings. So ideally, you want someone who embodies both. Someone who has a direct felt experience of awakeness and abides in that awakeness while also having the ability to translate that into actionable guidance. They don't just hand over knowledge as concepts. They actually foster the revelation of the wisdom teachings within you. So it's this combination of lived wisdom and skillful teaching that paves the way for true spiritual development and this eventual recognition that indeed you are your own guru, and that recognition isn't theoretical. It's deeply personal because it emerges from direct experience and from walking the path with the support and guidance of someone who has been there themselves. So this is not a journey that you can Google or find in the pages of a self-help book. So I'm speaking to all of this through my own experience. I've been on this path for over 25 years, which I think is long enough to see quite a lot. And I've encountered spiritual teachers who've lost their way in their own egoic agendas, and others who, despite their genuine awakening, couldn't really articulate the path for others. So in my own journey, I've sat at the feet of people who've claimed to know the way, some of them with well-known names and others who are lesser known. And I have felt the disillusionment that comes when those who preach empowerment and awakening are actually more invested in their brand and their business than in their spiritual service. And it's a really challenging realization, and one that has actually made me question the very fabric of the industry that I myself am a part of. But it was through these very challenges that I eventually did find my way to a teacher who not only embodies the teachings as a direct experience, but who is also able to transmit them and is capable of providing the very map to navigate this complex journey of spiritual awakening. So it's been with this particular teacher that these profound teachings and practices he transmitted have transformed from intellectual concepts to a lived, embodied experience within me. And this transition for myself from the outer guru to the inner guru wasn't something that I was trying to make happen or even thinking about. It just unfolded as this natural process. And in this unfolding, it organically informed how I relate to life. It's organically informed the way that I teach and what I teach. It's organically informed the way that I work with my clients. So none of this happened through planning it out or by my design, but through the grace of the divine and, of course, likely my own readiness to receive the transmissions. So this is the path of being your own guru. It's not a catchphrase or a bypass for the hard work of spiritual practice. It is the result of a genuine process that arises from the dedicated work with a true teacher. It's about embodying the wisdom that was once outside of you and experiencing it as this indelible aspect of who and what you are. So everything that we've been discussing in this concept of the outer guru and the inner guru come from the chapter I Am My Own Guru in Christopher Wallis's new book, Near Enemies of the Truth. And I should mention that he's not only the author of this book, but he is also my teacher. And it's his guidance that has nurtured this recognition of this living wisdom within me that permeates really every aspect of my life that I'm so grateful for. In his book, he dives into 17 different spiritual platitudes that we frequently encounter on the spiritual path. And he suggests that each one of these spiritual platitudes holds a grain of truth, but also the potential to mislead us if it's not fully understood. So this particular teaching about being your own guru, which he addresses, is just one of many that he unpacks in this book with the clarity and depth that's really become the hallmark of all of his work. So as we wrap up this deep dive, I have something exciting on the horizon that I want you all to be part of. Near Enemies of the Truth by Christopher Wallis has not only been the cornerstone of today's discussion, but it's also the foundation for an upcoming offering that I have. So let's stay connected, stay tuned, and subscribe if you haven't already. Take care and be well.